Steve Robertson, you can find him on X at Scout Steve R. Find him 247 Sports Genes page, Facebook, podcast, everywhere, books and more. Steve, welcome in, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, Jake. How are you?
Doing good. Let's go around the horn here. Mississippi State sports. I appreciate your time today. Let's start with recruiting. Since we've got the second, in air quotes, signing day, Mississippi State on 247 Sports sits at 28th, 24 commits. They have, I think, personally, Jeff Lebby and his staff have done a really good job in the transfer portal. First off, I guess a two-part question. One, your thoughts on this class, and then two, any additions or potential additions tomorrow for the Bulldogs?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good class. I wouldn't classify it as a great class, but it's a good, bordering on a really good class, especially at the wide receiver position. I think they've done a great job there. Defensively, still got some work to do there, perhaps in the portal. You could have a new guy tomorrow. JoJo Knight is the guy out of Havana, Florida, Gadsden County High School. His proper name, I guess, is Josiah Knight. They call him JoJo. He signed with Illinois back in December and was expected to be an early enrollment guy. And he gets up there and then ultimately doesn't get cleared, comes back home, and then you're like, hey, it's all worked out. You're good to go. And the kid's like, nah, I just want out of my national letter of intent. So I don't know if a lot of schools know about him at this point, but he's the guy that could sign with State tomorrow. And then Leland Smith, the wide receiver out of Fullerton College, he's down at 3 schools as of today. He drops Temple today, so it's Miami, Purdue, and Mississippi State. I'm leaning towards Purdue right now, but I don't totally rule it out yet. Chad Bumpus has been known to pull some miracles out late. So those are the names that we're watching right now. And, of course, then Frisco McGee, a longtime commitment to Mississippi State. That'll be formally announced as a signing tomorrow around 2:30.
Steve, is it fair to say that this team for 2024 will have a lot of youth? They'll be one of the younger football teams in the conference?
Well, you added 15 transfers, and you had a bunch of transfers last year that joined the program that didn't really shake loose, and so, I think it's going to be a younger team, especially from an experience standpoint, a chemistry standpoint, but I don't think it's just going to be a complete rebuild. And I think adding 15 transfers is very important, and the fact that you've retained so many guys, I think, is also important. But, I don't think Jeff Lebby's going to be out there in press conferences talking about how young we are. I mean, there's some personnel groups that are, but Lebby expects to win this year, and, he's taking the steps on the recruiting trail to try to make that happen.
Steve Robertson visiting with us Tuesday edition of the program. Make sure to find him on X, also Gene's page, 247sports.com, and other places as well. Steve, Mississippi State basketball on a 2-game skid. They get Georgia coming in tonight. Bulldogs sit at 14-8, 3-6. I don't want to call it a must-win, but you would think this is a win that the Bulldogs really need to go grab before they get back on the road.
Well, I think State needs to go 2-0 this week. I mean, that was the thing last week. I mean, listen, Ole Miss playing exceptionally well, especially at home. And you had a chance to get that one. But, you go to Alabama, and State was really not in it after the first 5 minutes of the game. And I think there are a lot of fence sitters that are thinking, maybe this isn't going to work out this year. But in order for State to right the ship, you got to take care of Georgia at home, and then you got to go to Missouri, who is the last-place team in the league. These are 2 games I think you absolutely have to win if you're going to make the NCAA tournament. There's still a lot of basketball left, but, you're starting to run out of those opportunities, especially to pad your resume a bit, with a road win somewhere. And State now 0-6 on true road games. So that's a bit of a detriment, I would say, to the postseason resume. But all you can do is play the next game, take care of Georgia here at Humphrey Coliseum, and then go take care of Missouri, and we'll see what next week brings.
Steve, I got a question for J-Rock. He wants to know when the baseball team, the roster will be announced or out where people can get it, and it may already be out there. If so, do you guys have it, or do you know where to get it?
It has not been officially released, and I get this question every single day, and we continue to ask. There's still some adjustments they have to make, and they just, for some reason, haven't elected to announce those. And there's a couple things they're kind of working through, but they promised me they'll have it before opening day, right? And so, I guess the NCAA needs to know sooner than that. But, we don't know for sure. We get a practice roster, and we continue to kind of work off that. And there's some guys that were on that roster, like Brock Tafford. It's not there now. Alex Wash, no longer there, So there's some of that that's we're kind of navigating through. But, no, we do not have a finalized roster, nor is one available just yet.
Steve, when you look at this baseball team for Chris Lemonis, to say that this is a big year for him is an understatement. I mean, it really, really is. What defines success for him this year?
Oh, I think you got to get postseason. I mean, I don't think there's any question about it. I mean, and maybe a road regional is probably the floor. Anything above that, and I think you feel great about it. But I think State has to be a 2 or 3 seed somewhere out there, and you got to post a 1-E record and be somewhere around 500 in SEC play. But I like this team, to be honest with you. I think Cal Stephen from Purdue has been an outstanding addition. We hadn't seen a whole lot of Carson Ligon, but they're being careful with him because he had some arm trouble last year. But they've done some things in the portal that I think are interesting. And then when you look at the addition of Justin Parker, I mean, just watching Nate Dahlm, who I think was State's best pitcher last year, just about every time out, you see how effortless it is now. Last year, it seemed like some guys were kind of fighting their delivery, not really getting good extension, getting down the slope of the mound. And now they're able to do that with greater regularity. And so I think, number one, it's going to save some wear and tear on them physically. But I think they're just going to be more efficient in their efforts. And I think this team defensively is light years ahead of where it was last year. Still got some things to clean up. But I think State's going to be an elite offensive team and an improved defensive team. And this team will go as far as the pitching carries them.
Make sure to get the podcast. Find him on 247 Sports. That's Gene's page. Also Facebook, X, and more. Steve, I appreciate your time. Hey, by the way, who you got winning the Super Bowl this weekend?
Kansas City, man. I got to pull for Chris Jones and Willie Gay. So I'm Chiefs all the way. And I don't understand all this angst about Taylor Swift. Who cares, man? That's a sideshow. That's just a distraction. I'm Chiefs all the way. I don't care which pop stars are pulling for them or dating the players. I want to see the Bulldogs players getting a Super Bowl win.